YouTube. Let me see if that pops up over here. So yeah, okay. My name is Owen, and I built Red Pearl Pirates on Steam. And I don't see a video coming through here. Okay, sweet, it's coming up. It's a grand strategy game that is built in a small galaxy, and you play as the Red Pearl Pirates, fighting for your freedom from an oppressing force. The logo, as you may see, is of the Palestinian flag, um, and it's kind of my way of describing um, the situation in a way that's suitable to me. Oh, I should have talked before I came onto YouTube and uh, everything. So let me explain. I wanted to build a grand strategy game. Actually, that's not true. I wanted to build a battle strategy game where you had two opposing fleets that would stand at a distance apart from each other and fire at each other from a long distance. The reason for this is because other strategy games that I play, you'd have one fleet here, one fleet here, and they'd just go at each other like this and start going into a big mess. And then the result is the amount of units that you had, or the quantity of units you had. If it was larger than the enemies, you won. There wasn't much in the way of strategic thinking involved in that, and I wanted a game more like the Napoleonic era, where you had, had to use strategies where you would break your fleet apart, come around the sides, attack the fleet from behind, um, retreat a little bit so you could bring them in. I'm a big fan of some history battles, and one of them, it's not the Battle of Carthage, but the one where Hannibal was fighting the Romans. Maybe I'll find the name of it over here. Um, Hannibal fighting the Romans. Invite. Just invited somebody, and I have no idea who that is. Um, famous. Is it the Battle of Cannae? Yeah, the Slaughter at Cannae. Okay, so the Slaughter at Cannae had the Romans who had like 80,000 troops, and I believe the Carthaginians had maybe 40,000 or less. And what Hannibal did is he put his best troops on the sides, and he told the center of his fleet or his troops to move forward towards the Roman legions. And then he started retracting his soldiers back slowly until it came in like this. And when the Romans pushed in, he started enclosing and circling around them. And even though he was outnumbered, what happened was that he was able to stop the Roman soldiers from fully being able to uh, fight back against him, because they had short swords and they were all clumped up together. So you're only actually fighting the outside of the Roman legions, and you could handle that number of people attacking you. So um, I wanted a strategy game that could kind of take in these kinds of scenarios. Now, on my YouTube page, you will see currently that I have the game up on the screen at the moment, and I have a logo that I made, Red Pearl Pirates. Maybe I'll flick this around and let you guys see. Can you? Don't know if you can actually see. Anyhow, so the game is, um, let's see if I can go onto here. The game is called Red Pearl Pirates, and it's in early access. The reason it's in early access is because there's a lot more I want to be able to add to it. I don't like everything that I've built so far. I spent most of my time working on the actual fleet formations and how you separate them out and get them to battle with one another. There's a lot of work to be done around. Uh,
Time has
ha-
passed,
oh,
but some things never change.
so there's a lot of work to be done around how the actual fleets move speed-wise, and there's also work to be done on the range which the ships can fight, and I want to build new ships and more specific ships for each race or group of people in the actual map. Okay, so I believe each one of them should have their own style of ships. Uh, the Hi, so I'm talking about Galaxy Pirate Game build. Yep. Um, Hello, how are you doing? So I built a game for Steam, and I can go through about how I built that and why I decided to go down the path that I did. So I was going to go and use Unity or Unreal Engine. I've used Unity before, and I was very happy using Unity. However, I wanted to do a bit faster, rapid building, and I'm way more familiar with HTML and CSS and JavaScript. But I found that working with those technologies um, had a big hindrance on performance. So I converted the JavaScript into WASM. The WASM, on the other hand, required me to learn a bit of C++ and to be able to handle the amount of units that I wanted. Because I initially built it with 100 ships and per side, and it was okay. And as soon as you got to 200 ships per side, it was lagging. And initially, that I fixed the lagging by making workers and separating out the UI controls from the actual game controls. And then I still found that I only had 400 ships a side. It was still too laggy. So then I ended up getting it up to 1,000+ chips per side. I have a very good computer, so for me it was actually fine. And I can go up to like even 2,000 chips per side, and the game actually works all right. But I actually have two computers. I have one here and I have one here. And on this one over here, which is a bit of a weaker graphics card, it wasn't able to handle it very well when it was working with uh, in the previous way. So I'd love to show the people on uh, TikTok how I built it and more about the actual video, but I'm just going to leave it open for questions. And I would ask if anybody's interested to go on to Steam and add the game to your wish list. That's all I ask. I don't even ask for you to buy it. It would be pretty awesome if you could actually go in and just add it as your wish list game because apparently that helps. Um, okay. So for those on uh, Steam or on YouTube, let's bring up the actual game and give it a go. So I'm just going to minimize that down a little bit, so in case there's anybody chatting to me over here. Okay. Okay. So this is my game. It's up on uh, my YouTube channel at the moment, which is under the same name as me, Owen Tulster. And you have a couple of scenarios. I'm going to go with the skirmish scenario. And skirmish scenario, I'm going to allow, say, 300 chips on my side and 400 on the opposing side. Okay, and we'll do it over a planetary orbit. So it took about a month to actually build the game itself. And it took about another month to get me, well, 3 weeks to get me sorted on Steam itself. And that was the hardest part for me mentally because I'd been so exhausted actually building this game in the first place that working with Steam felt so different from me. And I have to say that they were wonderful, and they say they'll get back to you in 3 to 5 days, and they get back to you in 3 to 5 days. But after having worked on this for so long, code-wise, it was hard to go into the image mindset and then the advertising mindset. Sorry for those people on TikTok. I'm trying to show on my YouTube channel how I actually built this game, and I couldn't figure out how to get it streamed on here and streamed on YouTube simultaneously. So hi anyway. I'm talking about the construction of the game. The construction of the game was actually a lot easier for me in some ways. Yes, I did use AI to help build some stuff, but oh my God, is it so stupid when it comes to certain aspects of constructing anything in 3D space. So right now I'm moving around a fleet of ships that I difficulty selecting them. Okay, so right now I'm moving around a fleet of ships that in my game. I'll just flick you around here and have a look. So this is the actual game that I built. It's me on YouTube over there. But I have these different formations that you can select. So you actually have to select the actual ships, but the opposing enemy is coming from over here. And I'm currently going to be outnumbered 400 to 300. And this is just the skirmish part of my game. So this is actually the main core part of it, and the part that I love the most, and the part that I want to actually build for myself. Because most games that you play, when you battle, the ships just go and merge into each other and go that, and then there's your result. It's kind of like playing Risk with dice, which actually Risk with dice is, in my opinion, a little bit better because you know, it adds a chance in there. Whereas in some other games, it's like you've got a bigger number than somebody else, and so therefore you're going to win. This one, on the other hand, you don't know if you're going to win. You actually have to end up thinking about your strategy and what you're going to do and your formations. Now you have options in this game where you can go up and down or ascend and descend. So I can actually send my ships in a 3D direction and have this on the same plane, two different lines of attack on an enemy directly in front of me. And for me, this makes a lot more sense in what a space battle is supposed to be like. Because if you're fighting in space, you're obviously going to be able to dodge projectiles coming towards you at a certain speed, especially if you have good enough sensors to know that somebody's fired. Unless something's coming at you at the speed of light, you can actually just move out of the way. Otherwise, you're just dead as soon as you see it. But in this particular game, projectiles don't move at the speed of light, and you can actually see what's happening. Rallying call was started by K Forever's Balls Kid. Oh, thank you, I guess. I don't understand how TikTok works. I'm on it for a while, but I haven't investigated enough on how to use it. I need to do that now. I'm going to be talking about my game over the next few weeks. So I'll be on here a few times. But one of the reasons why I'm on here is because I want to be able to get feedback from people and get myself on a wish list. I don't think that this game is going to make much in the way of money, but I do know that I did like working on making it's a life achievement for me. It's been part of a bucket list. I've always wanted to say, hey, I've built a game and I put it on Steam, not just I'm a coder or anything else. I wanted to actually build something without, you know, another team or anybody else. Now, the game is a little bit slow, but that was intentional because traveling, does it cost money? Yeah, I'm sorry, it does cost money. You know, secret, if you download the game, it comes in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Refund your money, keep the files, works for you. You know, it's not DRM or anything like that. But I wasn't going to like sell it for nothing. But I would appreciate if anybody just even put it on a wish list. I would love that. even if you never end up getting it. But yes, as time goes on, I will actually increase the cost of it. Um, but only because I'm putting it at like $10 or something like that for the start. And it is a grand strategy game, and I'm going to put in a bit more work over the next year making cool new shit. So I actually want to have. Oh, thank you very much. In my opinion, I've already succeeded. So this is what I've always wanted to do. This is like on my bucket list. Hey, I just want to check off the box. I put a game up on Steam. And I have to say, I've been trying to make other games along this, like idle clicker games and blah, blah, blah. But I was actually more interested in the grand space battle. Like, I'll just flick you around and have a look right now. So, I don't know if you can see that over there. People on YouTube can see it. But, I wanted to be able to have a 3D space battle going on. So, I'm glad it works. I'm glad Steam turned around and said, "Hey, that's so good." Oh, thank you very much. I just wanted to have a proper space battle. One that was more reminiscent of the Roman style of warfare, Napoleonic era. And I think there's quite a few other games like that out there, but nothing that I personally built, and nothing that actually allowed you to work in 3D space and be able to come under an enemy. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Ender's Game, where he has the fleet coming under like this. Now, I don't think I can do this. What happens is that my ships go down and under, and they will shoot up, but there's no hiding or anything like that. There's so many things that could be built and put on this game, and I loved working on it by myself rather than working on it with a giant team of other people. Like if you ever worked in a big company, or like, uh, where will we put the button? Where will we do this? Where will we do that? It's like what I'm more concerned about is how fast are the bloody bullets going, and does this look cool, and does it actually fit with the reality of like a warfare in space? Um, Thank you for sharing. I'm really sorry. I don't really understand TikTok very well, and I don't know how it really works. I was trying to get my logo up on the screen or a link to the game. As one of the faults in the game and why it's actually in early access, and I'm thinking that I'm just going to reduce the cost for the first like 7 days of it being out. So it's only going to be a couple of dollars. I think I'll do that. Do like a 40% off. Um, the reason what I don't love about it is that it's very easy to trick my enemy or my opponents currently. They come at you and you go at them. If you go right head on and they outnumber you, they will win in the battle, right? But if you just like split off half of your troops and go to the side, you will destroy them while they're shooting at you. And it makes sense. So the projectiles that leave the ship, they are not, I'm a projectile, I'm going for this particular target and I will hit that target. What happens is that the ship fires and it comes out at a particular, like a random angle as it floats through space, and it might miss the ship entirely. But just like when you had musket fire and lines of troops back in the past, if you were opposing your enemy like this and they were opposing you like that, you got 3 men deep in front of you. But if you get on the side and you fire sideways, you got like 100 men deep. You're going to hit somebody. So by splitting off your troops and moving around the side, or in this case, spaceships, you can blast them that way. But I also added in another feature of uh, broadsides, because again, it's like, you're in space as well, but it's much shorter range. I imagine all the ships having big giant muskets and firing at a long distance at somebody far in front of them. And you can get into formations like this where you're at an angle, um, because like I didn't want the ships behind me shooting through straight at the enemy. Instead, they needed to be at an angle. So when they're shooting at an enemy and you're in like the spearhead formation, at least it makes like in your brain sense that you're not shooting the guy in front of you, you're shooting everything out in that direction. So then I also have a box formation and a sphere, a defensive sphere, and a line formation, and you can set the amount of line or men going back, and it'll, instead of being in a spear kind of thing, it's like, you know, lines of men going behind each other. So that was that's the main part of the game, but I want to build other key ships. So I'm inspired by the game called Legends, or the series called Legends of the Galactic Heroes. And this brings me into the second half and why I call the game Red Pearl Pirates with this particular flag, which you might recognize. Um, the the game is based on politics, and the series is based on politics. Politics in the series in Legends of the Galactic Heroes is that you had a dictatorship on one side and you had a republic on the other side. But as the series goes on, the dictatorship starts turning into a republic, whereas the republic starts turning into a dictatorship. And you have a third nation that was basically pulling the strings of everything in the background. But they had these absolutely epic battles, and you're talking about like a couple of 100,000 ships each. Now, there is a potential that I could actually figure out a way to increase the amount of ships that are in this game and bring in that kind of style. And I have an idea, and I think it was the Barnes Hut algorithm. So the Barnes Hut algorithm allows you to, you know, only move things that are being interacted with in Steam. Yeah, only move things that are being interacted with, or only calculate object movement within certain regions. So you could, like, you know, build a galaxy or something like that, which has hundreds of millions, if not billions, of stars, and it looks like it's actually all working fine. And I can do that probably with using WASM. WASM, yeah, yeah. So that's a future development research goal on this project. The next thing I would like to do as well is I'm going to swap between building the battle simulation and move on to the political situation. So there's a couple of stories currently in the actual game. I'll just flick you around again. So in here you have like the main story, and then you got random 50 ports, 25 ports, and 100 ports. But I'll show you the actual um, uh, main story. So you might recognize the map. It's basically Middle East, to be honest, and I want to expand it to be the regional rest of the world. So you got your main players there, and the goal of the game is that you can go off and say scan particular areas, and you're looking for the red pearls. So as you go through the turns, you could be attacked, and you can do an auto resolve, and I can show that I was attacked here, for example. But you can build out your upgrade system. So I'm going to upgrade the system, and I'm going to build a sensor array. So if I click on, let's say, this planet here, you can see that I don't know what kind of fleet presence there is, but I built a scanning on that planet. So that allows me to see that this planet here has 21 ships on it, and I have 21 here and 22 here. And I can build another ship for 5,000, and then I can launch raid, and I will do it from here. So then that brings me into a nebula. I don't like my nebula so much, and I'm going to make that a bit better and tidier. The planetary systems look pretty cool. I built them. How would a concept artist get involved with indie game products? How to concept art? Oh, to be honest, I have no idea. But I find that, for example, me, say you contacted me on LinkedIn, and I was actually wanting to work with somebody. Like at some point in here, I was wanting help, but I was insistent on building it all myself. And it would be pretty cool to actually have somebody work at building more for me on this, like to make it better, make it cooler. Like I need to build a bunch of other ships. Like let me show you something here. So hopefully you'll be able to see it. You see the enemy ships here? I don't like the look of them. Uh, I I built them like this for a reason though. They have a big, and it's not a good reason. There's a flaw in the game where the ships rotate. You can actually see it right now, and it's okay. Like it doesn't affect the game so much. But if you have a big dome on the front of the ship, then the rotation doesn't seem as though it's affected so much from the player's point of view when they're fighting. So this is a small battle that's about to occur, and I will just go through it, and I should win. It's 23 versus 21. I guess I'll show you it happening when it's happening. Okay, so right now the enemy is coming directly at me, and the explosions don't look the greatest in my opinion, and I'm winning 23 to 20 at the moment. And I think I did a raid, so they're lining up. So they're actually going to get their asses handed to them this time. But had they outnumbered me double the amount that I had, I would possibly lose, especially if I start changing formations as I fight. So I will see if I can do a change of formation. It's a circle. So I'm just told my men to get into a defensive circle. You can see it. And I don't like my current ships. I want them to be more sail ship-like. But I did like the gun on the front, so I'm thinking I'm just going to add them to one of the other races in the game. You see how I'm missing some of the actual shots as they're being fired? So they're not always hitting the opponent. Sometimes they fly by, sometimes they don't. So sorry, didn't do a good job of answering how would a concept artist get involved in indie game projects, but reaching out with people basically is the key thing. I honestly do suggest things like LinkedIn is probably the best place that I would start off with doing it. Um, Otherwise, yeah, I think that would be very hard, especially nowadays. You know, if me, a loser when it comes to art, like I cannot explain to you how difficult invites you to co-host. Okay. Oh wow. Hi. How you doing? I'm good. I'm just showcasing my game on Amazon, right? Um, Sorry, I didn't mean to jump on to somebody else, but he could barely understand me, and I didn't end it. He did. Anyway, so we can return to the campaign game, and yeah, you got raiding, you got invasions. I was, or I'm muddling around the idea of having land-based invasion as well. And there's a concept that I like in that, and I don't think that it'd be that hard to do, and it would make it a lot more interesting to have space, oh sorry, a galaxy, space battle, and then a planet. The other, I could spend a whole year working on this alone, so that's why I do have to charge for it, unfortunately. Although I'm probably going to be doing this as a side thing as well, um, even when I start getting a job. But I'm going to use this as advertising for a new job. That hey, I built a whole Steam game by myself on YouTube, and I'm an AI engineer, and blah 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 blah. Um, I did recognize that people don't actually look at any of my videos. They just see that I actually have videos and YouTube stuff going on. So that's kind of handy. I could say anything I want and they go like, oh, he did something. But anyhow, again, if anybody has the chance, I would absolutely love it if you could subscribe to the game or say wishlist it, even if you're never going to actually get the game itself. That would be really cool. I would just love that. Not that you owe me anything or anything like that. Yeah, so I don't know what else to say. If anybody has any questions and stuff like that, I'm just gonna try and answer questions that I'm trying to ask myself because I'm currently recording this video so that I can also post about it on another YouTube video, another TikTok video that I'll upload, and then on LinkedIn. And I think I'm supposed to like go off and keep on trying to do this over a period of time. Because once you've uploaded a game onto Steam, you have like they review your store page, and I failed that 3 times. And each time you fail that, they check, they give you information about what you did right and did wrong. And I filled out that information, I fixed it, and I went back. But then after that, there's 3 days, 3 to 5 days, where they review your actual game to see what you're saying you're selling, you're actually selling. So mine works on Linux, works on Windows, and I believe it could work on Mac, but it's not. I'm not selling towards Mac as I can't test it on that. But once you go through those 3 to 5 days, then you have to have 3 weeks of coming soon on Steam, and it's mandatory for your first game. Just go so you've got to be 3 weeks on Steam for your first game as coming soon, and then it can actually be launched. So my goal is to actually get a bunch of people on wishlist, and then after I've gotten all these videos that I need to make about it out there, I'm going to go off and upgrade the scenario for the AI battling in the actual game to make it a bit more intelligent. Then the next thing is to add in more ships, although I think I might add in more ships first. And when I say more ships, I mean like as in I want to build ships that have project shields over a large area. But I'm also going to have to upgrade the weapons so that they shoot at a longer range, and I'm going to increase the speed of the ships themselves as well. But if you actually have, you know what I'll do? I'll actually make a window inside the actual main screen where you, the user of the game, can control these variables, because I currently have a setting that I have to automatically change. I think I can do that. Yeah, I'm not too sure, but I'll work on it. But then after that, I want to go into the campaign map. First of all, make it much larger. Secondly, I want to go and add in a lot more factions. So like adding in Europe and space, Africa, Asia, United States. And then I'm going to do more on the actual battle again, and then back into the main campaign for diplomacy, spying, more research and technology, and all those kinds of things. The idea being that I can actually do this now. Like I know that there are games out there where you can build mods and those kinds of things, but I wanted, as I said, to have my own game on Steam and to say that I actually did it, and this is part of my bucket list of things that I wanted to achieve. So why did I use the color scheme that I did, which is obviously the Palestinian flag? It's because of my um, interest in, or interest is the wrong word. I would say that over the last year or so, I've easily gotten, I'm not going to say that I've gotten depressed because I don't truly know what that feels like. But, obviously it's been terrible seeing the stuff that's going on. And I wanted a way to like protest in a way that I could, that was going to be there forever. And now I'm going to show the as best I can the scenario of this situation occurring, but in outer space. So it's a bit about an abstract thing, and I wanted to record it somehow as small as I could. Um, because I posted a lot on LinkedIn before, but and it doesn't do anything. But now I'm hoping that this is going to be a permanent storytelling of the situation um, in a different light, in a different way. Because again, if you watch Legends of the Galactic Heroes, they go through, absolutely terrible scenarios, and they also have the grand, beautiful strategy of war. And you can see a lot of the way people are thinking in the show. The Japanese, I think, really thought about uh, their part they played in World War II in the creation of that show. It was made in the 80s, so people, may have been alive that were in that time period. And they bring out to light the stupidity of people, the greed of people, the individuals fighting for freedom and that kind of thing. And I wanted to replicate the show because I think that it was a very um, and I'm not going to say interesting, though it is, but it was very enlightening kind of thing for me, where I could go, wow, that's actually something that I've seen before, and or I've recognized. Any of us that are old enough to remember the Iraq War and the gung-ho nature of, USA, 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 and we can see it all repeating once again. And this game's not going to change the world or anything like that, but it's something that at least I can look back and say, hey, I tried to show people in many different ways about what was going on, and this is the best that I could do in my location. Yeah, so what else can I say? There's a lot of work to be done in the game. But it's supposed to be interesting. It's supposed to be complicated, and I cannot say that you can win it, and I don't know how you would define winning it at the end of the day either. The goal of the game itself is to unite all the factions around you. And that's where the idea of capturing the red pearls, it is a game at the end of the day. Um, but when I expand the game out, it might be that you just united your region to fight against any oppressors. But I might do like an endless game where, it only ends when you decided to turn it off, I guess. Or I might add in other things where it's like randomly popping up rebellious factions and stuff like that, kind of like in the old Rome Total War series, which I absolutely loved. I think that was, like that was covering some horrible things in the past, but it was doing it in an educational form. And I'd say that I learned quite a bit of my history, or solidified a lot of my history, and nuanced history. I mean, like as in who made the first water mills, and where did currency come from, and back in the day. And I loved Rome Total War, and I feel as though I lost interest in that kind of style game by the time it got to Shogun Total War, and I have downloaded and I bought Warhammer Total War, and I've never played it. Yeah, so this one is going to be different because it's in a 3D battle space scenario, and yeah, okay. So forgive me, but I'm going to try and explain again to anybody else that's coming on new about what the game is, and I'm going to do it in such a way that I can post it on LinkedIn. So I'm just going to do like snippets. If anybody has any questions that might help me about what I did or why I made this game, that would be pretty cool. Okay, so why did I build this game? I wanted cool battles in space that made sense to me. Okay. Why did I think other games weren't cool? Ships came running in at each other, went into a ball, cool light show, then you ended up with a result. That wasn't interesting to me, and that was more about how many ships you can build at your main base. Why did I go with Red Pearl Pirates? Because instead of just having a battle of ships fighting each other in space, you needed an identity and a story to be able to tell. What is the story that I'm telling? The story I'm telling is of people that are being oppressed by the evil Z army that is coming in and conquering their land and taking it from them. And I wanted to show them resisting and repelling this force in all manners of ways. And one of those ways was capturing the Red Pearls so that they could unite their allies together in this scenario to defeat the enemy. What inspired me? Legends of the Galactic Heroes was a massive inspiration because I loved how the fleet dynamics worked and how it reminded me of Napoleonic era battle tactics. But because mine is in space, it's not on a 2D battle plane, it's on a 3D battle plane. And I think that that adds a rich fighting between fleets of ships in space, rather than this flat surface that you see most space games occur in. Like I've played games like Star Wars, what's the game? Star Wars something or other. I'll just check on Steam. I have it here. It's a really good game. Love it. But let's see, Star Wars Empire at War. Very cool game, and probably the best of the games that I can think of in this regard, where you have, long range ships, powerful ships, but fighters coming in and all that kind of thing, which I want to add also. But it'll be quite a bit different because I have to add in point defense systems for the other ships. So you can see how it's going to take me months to actually achieve everything that I want to achieve on this. So, and the great thing about it is, and in that it being my game, I can actually come back in and do it at any time I want and improve upon it, and hopefully a community gets built up upon it. So maybe I should pop up the game there. Oh, turn off my face. So did I answer that well enough for LinkedIn and stuff like that? Probably not. Okay. Another bit of backstory about me. So I'm out of work about 2.5 months ago, and I decide that I want to use my skills to build something for myself rather than always building stuff for other people in other industries that, even though they're interesting, I wanted to build something that I've always wanted to build. And that was build something for Steam. What would be a good thing to do? I thought to myself, hey, I really love this show and called Legends of the Galactic Heroes, and I wanted to have a similar battle scenario occurring in an actual game that I could play. And because I'm building it for myself, I wouldn't mind sharing it with everybody else. Now, the interesting things that I found working for myself and doing stuff for myself is that I wasn't stalled by having to, talk to other people and explain to a team of people what I was doing. Now, I ended up working an awful lot, and there are definitely areas that I could have done with a lot of help, but it was super interesting to be able to just take control of everything myself and push it as fast and as hard as I could. And when I didn't like something, I could delete something and then come back to it. I think that that is a tremendous feeling where you realize, hey, you've been doing this stuff for other games and companies for a long time, but you actually are, I hate to say it, you're slowed down while working in a business. for other people. You have that morning meeting, you have that afternoon lunch, you have this and this and this. I have two kids that were with me for 2 weeks while my wife was away over in the Philippines. And yes, they went off to school. My kids are 6 and 3, turning 4 soon. And I got them to school in the morning. I went and I worked on my game throughout the day. I pick them up around 3 o'clock, and then again at 5 o'clock, and then feed them, play with them, do homework, wash them, and then get them to bed. And if I'm not too tired, I end up working from, say, 9:30, 10, up until maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, and go at it again. And I did that for an entire 2 weeks straight, and I still hadn't finished the game. Then I found out that it takes sometimes years to finish or build up all of these games. So I was quite, oh, okay. Um, I underestimated the amount of work that I needed to do. And yeah, so I decided, I'm not going to give up on this. I have a goal. I'm going to set my goal. I'm going to get it up onto Steam. And when I finally got something that I was kind of happy with, I started going through the process of doing the Steam page. People say, hey, when you're doing Steam, focus on the actual Steam page first. In my mind, that's absurd because I had to show game trailer video stuff and images and all those kinds of things. And I was more focused on, I want to build a feckin' space game. I don't want to be focusing on the advertising of this space game without having materials that I could work with, which was the stuff that I'm building in the feckin' space game. So I built my bloody game first, and then I took components of that and applied that to the actual Steam page. But there's things that I didn't realize or that you don't think about at first. Like for example, I built a whole game and I forgot, oh, I'm not controlling this with Python on my computer. I'm going to be controlling this as an application. I need an exit button. Oh, I'm not doing like Control C and canceling my process while I'm in the middle of a battle because I didn't like how the space worked or ship worked. I need to press pause. Maybe I need to go to the bathroom, which I actually kind of need to do right now. But the there are things that you forget, or this button needs a sound. If you're in another company working on these kinds of things, I feel as though this can be like a long drawn out process. I saw some very famous creator, I can't remember his name, but he was uh, talking about how he wanted to do an interaction between a bullet moving through the air and hitting a target. He might be from Counter-Strike Source or something like that. And the work was going to be given off to another guy, and he apparently needed 3 weeks to do it. And I don't blame the guy that needed 3 weeks to do it. I can understand partially because of how business processes work and people like coming up to you saying, hey, why did you do it that way? But the guy that gave him the task said, hey, this is a 15-minute, maybe an hour long task. Why is it going to take 3 weeks? And apparently he got into a major argument with his manager and other managers. And basically he just went off and did it himself. And I say that I feel that experience that here, and it would be awesome to work with other people. However, um, it would be like I can't answer some questions in like when I'm developing a game until I've actually tried and played with it myself. And I think that the committee kind of thing kind of ruins the actual uh, uh, speed of creation. Sometimes it is better to just rush things out, and I don't mean to the customer, but for you to test and visualize yourself, rather than actually have that meeting at 9:30 in the morning, 10:30 another one, and later on in the day, and another one at the end of the night. Invite Omega's. Sorry, I don't know what these things are. Sorry. Okay. What else? Um, What do I not like about my game? I don't like my some of my ship designs. I don't like that I don't have enough uh, visual effects going on in the campaign. I don't like that I haven't got enough sounds. I've been using Suno to create some music. I've been using everything from Comfy UI to ChatGPT to yeah, well, looking for the UI in ChatGPT to make images in Gemini. I need to build out the storyline. I will be using things like VO3, and I know people won't like that, and I appreciate that. However, I hope to do it in a tasteful enough way where you know, the um, how do I say this? Um, it's not overly done where you don't you're not getting beaten down by AI videos. It's just a small introduction here and there, and you can go back into your battle strategy. Like I've played lots of other strategy games, and there's usually just a window that pops up with a bit of text that I'd say 90% of the time people don't actually read. Um, so yeah. Anyway, guys, I am tired of talking about my own stuff at the moment, and I have to do this for the next few weeks. So I'll be here every other night, or most nights that I can. But how are you guys doing? Let me know. I think I got enough in the recording section, so I'm going to stop this over here, and still streaming. Yeah. I don't think that I've had anybody come onto my YouTube stream, whereas there's been quite a lot of people coming onto TikTok, and I'm not even demonstrating to you guys what I'm looking at on the screen. So thank you for being here. I do appreciate that. But I'm going to see if I can actually do another TikTok live stream where I can actually chat to you guys. Z72VK, thanks for following. I followed you back. But yeah, let me see, live. I can go live.
I am a diabetic.
I might end.
Because I